Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for our first episode here on Calmsden Farm with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, I have been patiently waiting for the update to this map. I started playing on this map when it first came out. I thought it would make a great Let's Play and it would be more complementary to what we were doing on No Man's Land than the direction we were headed on Hubei and Oran. So that's why we're going to jump from Hubei and Oran to here. Now this first little section here is just going to be on setup. I had uh, tried to do that initially on No Man's Land and it didn't work, so I thought we'd try it again. Um, so if we look here in our garage, we can see it's a pretty well outfitted farm, if you want to call it that. And we're going to keep it that way, but what we're going to do is we are going to sell off everything here, print near, because we're going to make this a Massey farm. That we're going to keep, that we're going to sell. So that's all the original equipment that we're going to keep. The other thing, sorry, wrong, meant to go into here. The other thing we're going to do is, as part of this Let's Play, we are going to borrow a bunch of money because we are going to start $500,000 in debt. There's a bit of a storyline, but we'll get to that in a little bit here. Like I said, this is kind of just the initial setup phase. And there we go. That's taken care of. Now, as far as setup, we're going to go. I always turn that off. I'm going to leave it on 0.5 for now until we get things set up. But where we are going to run eventually is 2 times. Normal economy, traffic on, seasonal growth will be on. We're going to run a 2-day month on here. And I found on 2 times a 2-day month, that's how I personally started playing it. It was a pretty interesting setting. You had to pay attention to time. I give myself a little more time in the day, but with only a 2-day month, things have to move along pretty quickly, and I found it fairly challenging, so I thought that would be fun, so we'll leave it at that. That off, snow on, crop destruction on, plowing on. I like turning all turning all this on, and I'm turning it off. Dirt normal, automatic extension, stop and go braking, that's fine. Trailer fill limit we'll leave on. Fuel usage we'll put to normal, and we don't want our workers buying any of that stuff. All right. So I think that's how we're going to start. Now, the other thing I did is I took a look at all that equipment and I looked at what the new value was, because when we sell it, we got used. And I'm going to bring the money up to that level. And we're going to use that to add equipment to our farm. Like I said, we're going to be a Massey farm. And it's going to be, we're going to gain in some areas, we're going to lose in others. But when we look at the actual equipment here in a minute, I will explain that. Now, I'm not going to go through the menu and show you what I'm going to buy, because I know from experience it causes a lot of the Massey equipment is modded and has a lot of options on it, and it causes numerous game crashes when we go through it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that, and then I'll show you what we did and give you a little tour around the farm at that point. So I will catch up with you in just a minute. Well, welcome back. You can see our money has gone down considerably. That's because I have purchased the equipment. And like I said, the only reason I didn't bring in is there was a number of the Massey pieces that caused a game crash. I mean, they're fine once you get them purchased. It's just when you go next time you go into the menu, they crash. That was the case for the tractors and the telehandler. So rather than go through that, I thought I'd just purchase it. And we're going to go here and do a quick tour. Anyways, let's run to the farmyards, where there's 2 main yards. The gates don't open, unfortunately, so we just have to leap over. Luckily, virtual me can do that. Real life me might struggle. Um, so this is the main cattle farm here. Now the story with this farm is the previous owner had taken a rather large loan and had just modernized most of the equipment, and then whatever for whatever reason, we don't know, had to turn it back into the bank. Um, but all the animals are gone off the farm. There's no animals left, but all the facilities are here. But all the equipment got left, or a large chunk of it anyway. So we're starting out with a pretty good selection of modern equipment. And actually, that's something new for me. In I've always tended to do more of a start from scratch or start with small older equipment and build up. We've got a fairly well established farm here. Um, so that's a bit different. I've never done that before. I kind of, when I started playing it personally, I did that, and I really enjoyed it. But shortening up the time um, per month, like to 2 day months, things had to move right along, and these are big fields, so you need some good, good selection of equipment to manage. So if we take a look here, we'll start in this shed, and here we have our baler. I did stick with a round baler, but we have a baler wrapper, as you can see. This is the modified Impress because it has the bale turner on it, so it flips the bales on end. I really like that. I like my round bales to stay where I put them. Early in my farming simulator career, I spent some time chasing around, rolling round bales, picking them out of streams and off railroad tracks. Wasn't a fan. So for a round baler, I really like this combination because it wraps them and it drops them on the end. Um, like I said, time is a bit of an issue on this map, so being able to do it in one pass is a benefit. One thing on FS19, when I used this baler, it didn't have the best pickup width, but it's much improved here on this version. So that is, I will admit, somewhat of an upgrade. We have our milk storage here, and we have a silo here as well that we input here. And I think all the silos on there's 2 of them on this map, they're just standard crop types. There's one trailer, we kept that trailer that came with it. I did upgrade the mower to the set of Pottinger mowers. This has the ability to windrow. Again, it's a time-saving feature when you're like baling silage. We just have to make 2 rounds. So that isn't obviously an upgrade. You can see we have the auto stack. Didn't put any of the auto load trailers in. I know there's some available now, but auto stack, that's a real life piece of equipment. And the advantage, another advantage of the round bales, I should say, is this auto stack trailer is about half the price of the square bale stack auto stack. So there's an advantage there. So I did add that. There was that wasn't available in the in the base equipment. I think. Oh no, I was going to say I think that was everything here. No, but there's one more thing tucked away in here. Oh, 2 more things I forgot about. One of our tractors, new Massey. This is, I believe, 175 horsepower. This one. The tractors that were originally on New Farmer were 280 horsepower and 150, so this replaces 150. It does add a little bit more horsepower to it, but it can be upgraded further. And I forgot, I missed this. We kept the telehandler tools, but we have a new telehandler. We just have the Massey version. That's pretty much a straight across, just rather than JCB, we have a Massey. So it's tucked away here. It'll get lots of use in the future. All right, I think that's everything we have squirreled away down here. And we'll run across to the other farmyard. This is one of our fields. Wheat, not a very good yield bonus. You can see it needs plowing. This is another one of our fields, and it's barley. This is a fairly good sized field, and it also needs plowing. So that's a segue into one of the pieces of gear I added was this plow. Now I have used the furrow plows, but I prefer these ones, just easier to work with. But this takes a little bit more horsepower, so that's when I get to looking at the tractors, that's why I upgraded the horsepower on the one tractor, was so we could utilize that plow. So that was new. There was no plow in the original base. Cultivator, I took advantage of the extra horsepower, and this is just instead of a 6-meter cultivator, this is a 7.5, but just take whatever advantage I could. We have our header for our combine. You can see it's a case header. We have the case combine, and this is downgraded from the class that was here. It's not as large a harvester or as large a header, but it is red, so it kind of fits with the farm. So note, simply just for that reason, because it's red, is why I changed that. And it actually saved us a bit of money, so I could have put it into other things. Oh, the roller that we kept. And I did add in a herbicide tank. The farm came with a fertilizer tank, but we're going to use liquid herbicide and liquid fertilizer to start out with initially anyways. And I did add another vehicle repair point here, one outside. If we come around here and look in this shed here, there is a vehicle repair point in here, but it can be a little tricky to get the larger harvesters and that in. So we will use it, but I put that one out there for the bigger gear. Then we have some more storage here. Not really intended to be a map tour, but I'm just showing off the farm in case you haven't seen a map tour or never been on it before. As we go through the Let's Play, you'll get to see it lots. And then this is where we put into our silo here at this farm, right there. So. Just a little different start for me anyways to start a Let's Play. This door here just allows us to drive through to the back side. It's actually handy. We'll use that fill in the silo. Now I did add a larger trailer in addition to the small one, just to expedite the movement of our crops. We have a fuel tank here. We have one at the other farm, and these are empty. I haven't put anything in there yet. That's one of the chores we'll have to do. And the rest of the equipment is tucked away in here. The obvious first thing, I did go for the self-propelled sprayer. That was quite an upgrade. But one of the ways we can make money pretty quickly is on contracts and doing spraying and fertilizing contracts. We had the liquid tanks, so I upgraded this just to make life easier, because when I was playing on, when I started my own game, I found I ran out of tractors pretty quickly trying to get things done. And I have to admit, I'm a bit of a, I don't know what you call it, addicted to contracts. I hate to leave contracts undone, but with this setup, I'm just going to have to prioritize and take the best contracts. It's just not possible to keep up with them all. But when I'm playing on my own, like, I don't know why, I just got in that, kind of bugs me if I have to leave that money sit. Anyway, sorry, bit of an aside there. This is the seeder. It is a bit of an upgrade. It has a larger tank. It doesn't do direct drill like the other one, and it is, I think it's 1 or 2 meters wider, but it was largely, I had never used it. It was a modded one. It's a, I think is, I can't remember who is it. Oh, Kverland, that says right there. I hadn't gotten to use it, and it had a nice big tank, and I thought it would work good on here, and a little bit larger size isn't going to hurt. The downside is that, you know, for our own fields, we're going to have to cultivate ahead of time because it doesn't do direct drill, but you gain on one side and lose on another, but it's going to be helpful on when we're doing contracts. Our other 2 tractors on here, they're both 8S's. Both of these, like every time you go in the menu, crashes on these. Did with the telehandler too. This one is set to 180 horsepower, the 265. So that's exact equivalent to the John Deere 6R. This tractor here is at the one I upgraded to 325 at the max. That's so we can pull that plow. Needs a little bit more horsepower. So we're up a bit on tractor horsepower admittedly, but I don't think it's not a huge deal. And then lastly, here's our harvester. I said this is a little smaller than the class one, but it's the right color for our farm. The only Massey harvester in game right now is the Ideal one, and that's much larger. So we're going to have to work our way up to that. But in this case, will do us to get us going. And that is a quick tour of the farm and the equipment. I don't think I missed anything. No, I think we got it all. So I think we'll leave it there for just a minute. And I'll come back and we'll actually start farming. So I'll catch up with you in just a second. Okay, welcome back. Just had to take a quick break. I need to change the time scale, and I wanted to see how long I nattered on for earlier, because I still want to keep the episodes to about 30 minutes. And one thing I realized I forgot to look at was to look at the land we owned. I never showed that. So we own the periphery. That includes the biogas plant, by the way, so that's kind of nice. That'll come in handy. We own field 6 here, which was the wheat field, I believe it was, and field 3 here is the barley field. And then field 2 has nothing in it. And then these 15, 31, 4, and 35 all have grass in them. Some have animal pens as well. And that's one of our goals. We want to get the animals going on here again. So that's one thing we want to accomplish, get the cows, pigs, probably a few sheep, chickens. We'll do a little bit of everything. We'll get all the animals going to some extent or another. That's one of our goals. And also, we'll probably expand the farm a little bit. These are pretty big fields, but if we get going good and get some bigger equipment, we could probably look at expanding some of these fields as well. But our biggest goal is to get all the animals up and running, and of course we need to get out of debt. Speaking of which, I don't know if I mentioned it, but we have $50,000 to start off for operating. We are $500,000 in debt, and the bank is not going to extend us any more credit until we pay off 10% of the loan, or $50,000. They say if we show that, then in good faith, then they will extend us credit up to $750,000. So we got to pay some off before they'll give us any more credit. So we got to watch our $50,000 pretty closely. Now there may be some of you who say, hey, well, Farmer Murphy, why don't you just take that 50 grand and pay it off and then borrow it back? Well, I don't think that was the intent, and I realized afterwards I should have put it down at 45 or something like that, but we're just not going to do that. We're going to earn 50 grand, pay it off, and then we'll have access to extra money if we need it. So we got to be a little careful with our money. Now, we have 2 fields we need to get harvested, and that's pretty urgent. Excuse me. One, you can see there's rain in the forecast, and if we look at our calendar here, you can see we can only harvest wheat and barley in August, and although it doesn't say it, we can treat that as August 2nd, so when the next day rolls around, it's September 1st, so if we don't get those off, they will wither. So that's our biggest priority, so that's where we're going to start. Now, those of you with a keen eye may say, hey, that equipment looks like it's been reordered. Yes, Yes, it has. Because I put the harvester in here first when I was loading the shed up, and I had started recording this, and I tried to get the harvester out, and it turned out to be more like bumper cars. So I gotta move things around so we can actually get equipment in and out. So we'll get our harvester out of here. Because there isn't a ton of room to get through this door. It doesn't help that I've got the wide tires on here, but man, I'm just a sucker for wide tires. I put them on everything. One of my things, I really like the looks of that. One thing, a habit I've had in Farming Simulator in general is, man, I just love doing contracts, and on a lot of when I'm playing, it isn't often I let contracts go by without doing it. If we take a look at the contracts on here, I haven't looked at them recently, but we'll just take a quick move. I mean, they're pretty lucrative. Oh yeah, look at that. And I hate to let them slide, like, as a habit. That's one thing with this setup, not possible. You just got to pick and choose. And with only having 50,000 to start off with, I really have to be careful. But I think I will grab these two large spraying ones. Because we can do those in parallel with our harvesting here, I think. And that goes a long ways to getting our 50,000. Now these fields are mostly irregularly shaped, and they don't run, true north, south, east, or west. So it's a little bit trickier to get our harvester unfolded here. Get workers going. You can do it, but it means there's usually a little bit more of your time initially that needs to. I wanted to make sure. No, you know what? I'm going to have to turn that help menu on here for 1 second, because can't remember it, but we definitely want this straw swath. Oh. Which one was it? Ah, that one. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to set a worker off. I'll just leave that help menu for now. I'll get it in just a second. Yeah, I found that you can get a worker to do a lot of it, but sometimes you need to, do a little straightening here or there, because the angles don't always match up. But that was part of the challenge, and one of the reasons I really like this map. There's just even using that impress baler. I can't remember if I mentioned or not. It only does the small bales. You can't do the large bales. That's one of the disadvantages. And you still have that 200 bale limit, so that adds extra challenge. And in general, I'm used to sitting on my crops. I'll even borrow money and I'll sit on crops to sell them at the best price, or bales or silage. On this Let's Play, that's, at least when we start out, is to a large extent it's just not going to be possible. once I get this kind of organized so we can get a worker going on it, then we'll work on starting those spraying contracts. Come on, there we are. Actually, might need to go add a cab on here. We'll just true up this corner here a little bit. Just give us some room to get turned around going back the other way. So we're going to focus on animals on this map. As I said, we'll probably utilize some of the production chains. I don't think there's much of them on this map, so we'll have to, install any of the ones that we want to use. So that'll be a little ways down the road. And on No Man's Land, we're going to focus heavily on production chains and trying to get as much of them going as we can. That includes grapes and olives. And that's kind of the way we were heading on Hugh Baylor. That's why I decided to make the switch. I think just from playing FS22 and watching a few other YouTubers, I think the Let's Plays are going to be a little bit longer in duration than they were in FS19. So that's kind of another reason why I made the jump. And I'm kind of abandoning Hugh Baylor in mid-stride is because I think we're going to be on here in No Man's Land for a little bit longer. And like I said, I think they're just going to lend themselves to kind of two different styles or types of Let's Play a little bit better. I'm certainly no expert. Like I said, this is all pretty new to me. One thing I like about these little bit smaller harvesters, you can they're a little bit better for in-cab work. Well, I'm going to carry on here. I'm just going to kind of get this field squared up and get ready to get a worker going on it. When we get to that point, I'll bring you back in and we'll get on with that spraying contract. So I'll catch up with you in just a little bit. Alright, so we've got a worker going on here, as you can see now. He's running true north-south. Now, we don't always have to do that. The workers will run at different angles, but it just happens for this particular field. I found it was just as easy to get it lined out to have the worker run north-south. So I've got our Massey, what is it, 265, the 280 horsepower here on our trailer. What I'm going to do is grab our I'll get these numbers memorized here. Our 305 here, and put it on the plow and get plowing our other field that it needs plowing as well. I'm sure it does. It did in the previous game I started, and I imagine it's going to be in the same state. It's interesting. This is the first, like I said, it's the first time I've started with a farm this well equipped. I don't think I've ever done that in Farming Simulator before. I don't necessarily do a start right from scratch, but I don't start with this level of equipment. It's also the first time that I've been playing, and even with this level equipment, I felt under horsepowered and under tractored, just trying to keep up. And I learned that, boy, you ignore your, on these settings, you ignore your fields at your own peril. You're going to run into trouble if you don't take care of them first. Probably was a good thing that I played a little bit on my own initially, because that's what I learned. That's what when I did it, I didn't up the horsepower on the Massey's. I just ran the two 180s, and I couldn't use this plow. And that I really noticed. Before we get going on this, I gotta go and empty that tank. Shoot, he's going to be going the wrong way probably. We'll see. For right now, I think we're just going to dump this in our silo here at the farm just to save time, because I don't know when this rain is going to hit exactly, because we can sell it in the rain. That field ahead of us that we're going to plow, we could pretty much do it running north-south too. Well, we don't always do that. Sometimes we'll set the workers off at an angle. It was the very fact that it was just busy all the time. Always seemed to be things going on that I thought, man, this would really make a great Let's Play, and why I quit playing it on my own and came over here and run it as a Let's Play rather than just a personal game. Besides those other reasons I mentioned. I guess I should double check. Oh yeah, it needs plowing. This map isn't too hilly, but it does have a few hills on it. If you get some maps that are really hilly, you find you need a lot more horsepower in your tractors in order to use your implements. I can't remember. I think it's 260 horsepower this plow requires. I didn't even look. I just know in most cases, if you've got a tractor over 300 horsepower, it usually can handle it pretty well in most cases. I'm sure everybody has go-to pieces of gear. This plow is certainly one of those for me. You can actually, I think on FS19, this was as large as you could make it to 6 meters, but you can actually make it 9 meters, but we don't have the horsepower to pull a 9-meter version of this. One of the sell points over there, the sawmill. Oops. See what happens when you don't watch where you're going? I missed a little spot there. I think we'll just go right around it. I'll leave the tour guiding for another day. There are some really neat things that I found on this map that I'm sure you'll get a chance to see. I didn't play too far along. I think I got to about November. You know, I had the same settings, so I made it to November. But one thing I did, I didn't combine the other field. I thought, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. And, you know, I went and off and did a bunch of contracts and had a withered crop. So, try not to repeat some of those mistakes. I think that will be enough of a headland. This guy will get him going. I'll keep an eye on him. Because that our harvester tank is probably... Yeah, as I was saying, our harvester tank is probably getting close to full. So we'll let him carry on. I think he'll be okay. If he stops, I'll run back. I have played predominantly, I played on North American maps with the few English maps here and there, but I have enjoyed the English maps I have played on. For him to get turned around, and we'll go into him. He's got to be pretty close to being full. Like to catch him in there. The pipe is out the right side, so I don't have to. Oh no, he's got a fair bit of room yet, but I will still empty him out. So I don't have to jump in and take over, because I have crop destruction on, so I don't want to be driving over my own crops any more than I do by mistake. I certainly don't need to do it on purpose. Well, I'll carry on with the plowing and the Um, harvesting for now, but I think we'll probably end up calling that an episode there. I've got to be getting pretty close to our time limit. So if you're still with me, I really appreciate you watching. If you want to follow the series, I encourage you to hit the like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you get notified when the next episode lands. But like I said, really appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying it, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. But for now, Farmer Murphy signing off.